Okay, I posted this one the other day. Have a look in here, gold. Yeah, we were looking for this pullback, and as it was, scroll down. Yeah, that was the markup. So we got that. What I want to do with this video now is have a look at this and think about where to next. By the way, there's a lot of background noise. Sorry about that. I'm just sitting at a cafe at the moment, and there's a bit of traffic. All right, we're looking at gold, and I'll clear the drawings, 20 drawings on there. So let's go to the daily time frame. All right, gold is under pressure. So previously we have this break, bearish daily, and that's trending down really nicely. So my bias is short. As long as the NASDAQ and the US 500, the S&P continue to strengthen, this has got more downside. However, both the NAS and the US 500 are overextended. If they pull back, there's a likelihood that this could, it could continue up. So we're seeing a little bit of this at the moment, right? So there's I guess a bullish and bearish argument if you look at this trend here. So let's go down the time frame, and I'll just show you how I'll be looking to get involved. All right. Yeah, and I mean, we can see this on the 4-hour chart. Clearly, we've got this bullish break, 4-hour, fair enough. Okay, we can't argue with that, right? Now, for a bearish bias, what I need is, just open that up. And just watch out, we've got a data release impacting the US dollar today, later on in the US session. So the tools I use are volume profile, anchored volume profile. We can throw that in. I just want to pick up this current range. So this is range bound at the moment through this value area. And what you get is the low, the high, the low, the high, the low. Okay, we don't know how long that's going to go on for. So this is a Wyckoff thing. Didn't want to go that far. Hang on. Let's see if I can reverse that. Yep, okay. It's a Wyckoff thing insofar as this is developing a range. So, I mean, you could argue a lot of things about this. You might want to consider this possible bear flag, if you will, okay? But from a Wyckoff perspective, and looking at this like in terms of market auction, right? Market auction theory. We've got an auction, we've got buying and selling. This is a value area, balance area, where there's a balance at the moment of, kind of, but yeah, it's range bound. So in terms of the whole Wyckoff thing, if this is going to be bearish, you'd probably see something like that, right? So you get the range. This is institutional, and then you get a run on a liquidity above the range, and then it takes a dive. So that's that idea. And then you've got the bear flag idea. If you want to look at it from that perspective, it's trending down. You've got this, okay, a bit of a flag thing going on, however you want to draw that, but bear flag, right? I prefer to look at it from the volume profile perspective, given that that's range bound. Now, the longer that this range continues, the more impactful the expansion when it breaks out. See up here how we had quite a significant range through here, and look at the outcome. See that? So whenever you see a balance area from the volume profile, fixed range volume profile, we pull it through there. Have a look at the high and the low. See that? This is a value area, breakout of value into price discovery until we find value again. All right, so we rediscover value through here, and then we break out into price discovery, right, until we find value again. And this is trending. Fixed range volume profile. Well, you pull it through here. So what you get is a trend. And yeah, I've got wiggles around, breaks out, wiggles around, breaks out, wiggles around, maybe continues down, or it could turn around, right? So when this is trending, right, what we get is expansion, retrace, expansion. Well, the retrace is more of this balance area value where, the auction is agreeable in terms of the price. And then that changes and we go into price discovery, right? So that's just a very simplified kind of explanation of auction market theory and, you know, the Wyckoff thing. So if you look at this range here, see how it ran liquidity from above and then it broke down. Yeah, we've got a little bit of a thing here, right? A run above there, and then it trends down. So it'll tend to trend right down and draw sellers in, and then move back up to take out the liquidity that's generated from the range. All right. So look, my bias is bearish, but I mean that could turn around and head bullish. We can really easily do that. So the way I get involved with this is two ways. One is to keep an eye on the range and look to sell. Let's just go to a 30-minute chart. When you get the value area high, value area low, when you break out of the value area high in a bearish trend, you break back into value, you short there. That's it. That's a value area. It's a move back into value. How would I say? It's a reclaim, a value area reclaim. That's this strategy. And it's in a bearish trend. So it trades down, expands down, and then you got the range. And if your bias is bearish, obviously on the higher time frame, that's one way you can get involved with this. So if we grab, pull that through there. Well, that break above this trend line could be a little bit concerning, right? So they might be possibly looking to turn around. Who knows, right? But the strategy around this value area trade is bearish trend and the break above, and then the reclaim inside within this, like under the value area high. That's quite an aggressive entry point, and it's risky because that could break out of the value area and continue up. But it's the break back inside the range of this high and low area that determines the trade. All right, that's what confirms the trade. So there's another one there, another opportunity there. And you're targeting, first target would be the point of control, this red line. Second target is the low end of the value area. All right, so that will be target 2 down in here. So that's a strategy that you can consider. Now the other thing, if that's a little bit aggressive, is and this is where it gets a little tricky. See how it broke out of the value area, but this failed. It's a failed auction. The sellers, there wasn't enough sellers in here to maintain this. So what happens is it breaks back and breaks back into value. Now you can counter trend trade that if you like. That's really scary, right? You're going against the trend, counter trend. I prefer to go with the trend on the higher time frame and then just look for these moves here, because that can very easily convert to, price discovery. That's why this is a much better proposition, shorting when it breaks back into value here. So with that, what I'm looking for now, I mean, if it breaks back up into this area here, I would be looking for the same. I want to see it break out, and then if it breaks back in, possibly short it. I did that with the NASDAQ counter trend today, actually. I shorted the very high of the value area and did really well with my futures accounts. Oh, motorbike in the background. Sorry about that. So what I'm looking for here now, if it's not this setup here, it's going to be a breakout of the value area low. All right, so then I'm looking for, see, we've got higher high and higher low. That's what's a little bit concerning there, see? Higher high. Now, if this is bearish, what I want to see is, I want to see a lower low down here and then come back and then retest. And that trends down. We get a lower low, right? And then that is my entry point short. Retest and fail at this value area low. Stop above the swing point. Go for broke with your target. And I'll be looking to take 60% of the position or 50% off at 1R because this is so volatile. It takes one trader with enough capital to turn, to move the market. Smart money, right? Big traders. And all it takes is one trader. to turn this around and push it in the opposite direction, and that can happen. So that would be my take if it breaks under here. So let me just leave a note, something like that. Guys, I would really love it if you comment. And there's another thing that we need to do with this as well. Note sell. Follow it down with a VWAP. So bearish trend at the moment. Anchored VWAP at the high. Anchored VWAP at the next, well, high. Anchored VWAP at the next high. Just keep following it down, and then the next significant high is this one. You can actually pull one through here if you like. So what we then develop here is a clustered VWAP. And at the moment, this is broken under the VWAP. But what I want to see is this stair step down. Let's just open that up. I want to see this stair step down, and then we will add VWAPs to these highs. One there, right? And it's got to stay under this cluster. Pulls back, continue, and throw another VWAP on that high there. All right, pulls back, throw another. But you want price to stay under the cluster. And I want to see it break this low and retest and fail. It's pretty much it, really. Comment, guys, if you got something to say, definitely share your thoughts. And I don't know if you can relate to what I'm saying. Yeah, definitely, let me know what you think. So, yeah, but what I want to see here is I want to see a lower high. Just grab a drawing text. Okay, it's got to give me that. A lower low, I should say. I want to see a lower low and this lower high come together. Text, LH, lower high, lower high, lower low. It's got to give me that. And, oh, yeah, and really important, if this trades under here and retests here, at least pull a trend line from this point, this lower high and that, and then you want price to fail, all right, and rotate around. So then you would see once this breaks structure to the downside, do that, right? Lower high. So lower high, lower low, and then this is important, lower highs, lower lows, because if you don't get that, there's no trade. So this has got to be another lower high. See this one here. This is a higher high. So I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean you can. Well, I would. Okay, I would take that trade because it's a volume profile strategy, but it's risky. But in a trend continuation, you want that lower high, and you want to get under. You've got to get under that number one and number two. That's got to happen for this setup back in here. What else can I say? Yeah, that's about it. 60% or 50% off at 1R, because that could turn around very easily. 30-minute chart. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's about it. Yeah, with that, I hope you have a great day. Safe trading, and see you in the next one. Oh, yeah, if that fails, well, there's no trade. Okay, so I'll just make a note up here. No trade. Okay, no tirade. If it breaks above, that is no trade. Yeah, have a great day, guys. See you in the next one.